Yeah, I didn't really think about this until after I'd already started. What's funny is this isn't even green, this is yellow. So, I'm gonna be a floating head for this one. I'll just, you know what? I can kind of fix this. Hold on. Let me put my coat back on. See, it's not even green. I don't know why it's fading out, but all right. If it wants to be that way, fine. But see, now it's like when is it reflecting? What is it doing? I don't know. Okay, well, screw it. We'll wear the top until I get too warm under the hot lights, then it has to go. I need to put my earbud in. I just came back from work. I got a little time before I have to go back to work, so hopefully my eye won't bug me as much. It was really bugging me yesterday. Alright. Let's beat this game. February 25th, 12:06. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. You top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if this, blah, blah, blah. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Hello, Doxel. How are you? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. Hello, Harley. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped into pocket. Let's take a look at it. Doesn't look like the book will do you any good now, though. Shut up, you don't know what it'll do. Rules for submitting evidence. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Well, that was not useful. Yeah, that's a lot of meds there, bud. That'll knock a lot of people out. Doesn't look like that book doing anything, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective, huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is left there to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she's unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want me to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? What? And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Let's do this. February 25th, 12:52, District Court, Courtroom number 9. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for your news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, cough, cough. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. And Druth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the witness. Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Defense calls. Time has finally come to bring out the real murderer. It's gotta be you, right? Damon Grant. The defense calls Damon Grant to the stand. Damon Grant? What does he have to do with anything? As a defendant partner 2 years ago, Mr. Grant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Grant to the stand. I liked Grant until now. Still kind of like him. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Grant. Fine. My name is Damon Grant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Grant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it a certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. The police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Blah 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 blah. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defense Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. The two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, the elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got a shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though. God damn. That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victims' bodies, it had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Grant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Grant to the incident. Now, let's take a look at what we got. Oh yeah, this. Got it. If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this? What's that? What's that on it? A handprint? Chief Grant, your explanation, please. I don't know. You tell me, son. Huh? My dear Righto, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Oh, not this again, evidence law. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Tell me, how is that rag relevant to this trial? It's not a rag. It's the handprint from the guy's leather coat. It appears the defense was not prepared. I guess it's too early to use this piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Well, okay, I'll do it just this once, but only because you asked, Edgy. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly... sorry, huh? Yeah. Sorry I didn't nail you. That's stupid. It should be that. That wasn't what I meant to do. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Grant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Whoosh. Chief Grant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. That even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops in further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of Detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place in the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence and forgery. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Udgy. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What, are these guys telepathic? All right. I'd appreciate if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Wright's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Just an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. In concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery. I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not, after all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all I know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient, right? The Chief is talking about possibilities so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Righto, think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. How can you look me in the eyes and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I'd care for the word of murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Marshall's death's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Grant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you reap from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware of what is this benefit? That would of course be the conversation you have, That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That is in itself a sufficient motive. Ho, ho, ho. It's Christmas. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next Chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. My nose is itchy again. Why am I nervous? Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made Chief anyway. Gah. Be careful when pointing that finger or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Were you in love with Anya? Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I'd look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right, you don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people, that's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, ho, ho. Slam those hands. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfish... Would he have helped someone out? That's a good question. Oh. My cough is definitely going away slowly. It's just been a bitch otherwise. No, I don't drink coffee, yeah. Giving us something with... Sure, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well, then. Who is this person you believe Chief Grant may have wanted to help? Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Grant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Grant. But how could he profit from all this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Okay. Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in, yeah. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Grant. I'm afraid without any proof of this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Or which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Grant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order. Order, order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder? That is impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this was Mr. Wright, that the Chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Yes. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Grant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright has got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Grant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Nope. So long as Ryder here is tossing out things regardless of their evidence, mind if I toss something to you? Okay. Not that. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Alright. Okay, hold on. But try to think back to what happened in the evidence room 4 days ago. Oh, yeah. We did find something. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I got ahead of myself, I think. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 77777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Grant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits. You don't mean. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Grant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Why would you use your ID card, man? Order, order! Chief Grant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulation, and I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Grant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Grant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Skye's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Grant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing: what transpired during that meeting. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Grant on the day. I think it would be that. No. On that day, Detective Goodman had to go to see Chief Grant. Sorry. Okay. I'll figure it out. I'm trying. Oh yeah, he lost his card so he can get in. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more exact, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out his lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Grant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered the poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done just that. But sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Ooh, shocking. Chief Grant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. Blah, 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 blah. After the murder, you contacted Lana on the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Grant, you left all the evidence we needed. Prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. I know how. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Grant's used Edgeworth. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth. You mean... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so, but wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. I was asked to, by Chief Grant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here. Uh-huh. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation: to transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order, order, order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of a body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Grant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it on time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. Like the right to refuse testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman, that's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Grant is current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Grant murdered Detective Goodman and Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do you have any concrete proof? Do I? Probably. It's no use showing evidence I'm not sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. Humph. See, Edgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble when you can't afford to lose, Righto. Seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Edgy, I'll leave the rest to you.